I will absolutely give my return, but I'm being audited now for 2 or 3 years. I'm really rich.
He's entertaining, I'll give him that. Now, he's really, really rich. Just ask him. Now, he'll tell you. Then again, how much is he really worth? It may depend on who is asking the question. And I'm going to Vanity Fair piece I read last week that was really fascinating. It looked into this very question and more. Now, we all remember Trump's self-written FEC report on his net worth. Trump saying reportedly and repeatedly he's worth $10 billion or more. But that was his report to the Elections Commission. To other agencies, Trump portrays himself as just barely middle class, paying no taxes to the IRS in the late 70s, early 90s, and thanks to creative accounting, it's possible he hasn't paid any federal taxes since. We don't know because Trump will not release his tax returns, claiming he is under a constant audit. All right, Brian, you're the tax guy here. First of all, let's just clear up, let's clear up any misconceptions. He can release his returns. Just because he's under audit, there is no stipulation he's not allowed to return.
He can give them over tomorrow. There is no limitation on releasing your returns just because you're under audit. By the way, the IRS has them, so they know everything. He just doesn't want other people to see them because they might start, picking apart, finding things the IRS hasn't found. So,
are you at all surprised, before I get in the meat of this, that nothing's leaked from the IRS? Everybody claims how political an organization is. I'm surprised in this day and age, nothing's leaked out.
I'm not surprised at all. The IRS is they have a code of confidentiality around taxpayers' tax returns, and they can be criminally prosecuted. Individual agents can go to jail if they leak.
Okay,
unless you're in the Tea Party.
I have a question for Brian. Would you advise him to not release them?
No, I would advise him to release the returns, get out in front of it, because you know what? This is sticking in people's throats, and come November, this is going to be a big issue.
Do you think the IRS will complete their audit before November?
Well, they may complete this audit and start another one. It doesn't matter, but that's what he's going to use. He's going to use this, and it's not a real reason not to release the returns.
Okay.
Brian, what about the claim he makes that the FEC disclosures are more detailed and provide a fuller and more complete picture than the tax returns? Is there any weight to that?
There's no weight in that whatsoever. The FEC disclosures are there primarily to look out for conflicts of interest. So there are categories like, I've got more than 50 million of assets in this category. I made more than that.
But let me just use the time I got, because FEC, by the way, is self-reporting, okay? Right. And there's a difference between, and anyone in business knows, between revenue and net income, because you take out things like expenses.
He doesn't appear to understand it.
So he tells the FEC in rough terms, I'm worth billions. And let's just even look at the golf courses. Oh, go to Briarcliff. It's worth 50+ million bucks. To the IRS, I'm losing my shirt here on this. I can't pay any taxes here. I got a sweetheart deal on the land and everything else, but as a consequence, I'm going to pay no monies on this. In effect, in terms of taxes, I'm losing. In fact, I'm going to get a credit on this. Two completely different stories. And again, I get the distinction between revenue and net income, right? I get it. But is it just clever accounting? Or have you seen anything, as some of the tax experts in the Vanity Fair say, this may have broken the law?
It may have. We don't know enough about it and why there are these huge differences. And it could come down to the different rules for how you report things for FEC and how you report things for tax. I'd be surprised if they were that different, okay, where you've got millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars of profits under one reporting and losses under another. Now, it can happen. You can have tax losses that don't carry over for other purposes.
And you follow this, Brian. This is not a single example I'm bringing up. They talked about the Scotland golf property. So many properties, and you can use, without getting into too much micro detail, basically the real estate umbrella, where you can basically fold them into one. But my question is this. I think nobody likes paying taxes unless you're a masochist. I get that.
Bernie Sanders loves it. He doesn't have any money to pay them, but he enjoys it.
The five of us don't love paying, but you know what? We pay our taxes. My question is there a line between getting out of every single buck you can with tax havens and everything else as being, especially if you want to be president, right, an American citizen, and paying, if not even your fair share, at least something approaching
paying something whatsoever. Yeah, no, there's two lines you address there. One is there a line nobody should cross? And that's if you know you're paying the wrong amount of tax, but you do it anyway. That can be criminal. Okay, and we don't have any indication that that's happening here, because I'm sure he surrounds himself with tons of advisors. But who knows what's happening?
Not if the political campaign's an indication, but go ahead.
Yes. You're right about that. But you would think on tax, where the real money's at stake, maybe he did. But who knows what's going on there? But yes, if you're running for office, then there definitely is a line. You shouldn't be grabbing every last dollar you can. You really shouldn't be.
Yeah,
I think
but
you're pushing it too
the law
far.
says you can. It's not illegal. If it's not illegal, you don't have to be a bad business person either. So I think at some point you have to stop. My question is, are the FEC filings are subject to the penalty of perjury? Because if he's making two separate statements on two filings that are subject
That's
to the
what
penalty
they're
of
talking
perjury.
about. 1001 violations
Any
is what they're
statement
talking
to a federal
Just
official
Article
or on a
8
form
that they're-
is a felony.
And
If
that's
you make
the
a false
issue right
statement,
there.
that's a felony. But I do want to say one thing. You shouldn't be overly aggressive. I've seen reports, I haven't seen the returns themselves, but reports that he was actually taking as charitable donations free rounds of golf that he was giving away. Now, he would say that cost me money, but that's where I'm saying you're grabbing a little bit.
It's the optics. The problem for him is going to be the optics, one way or the other. By not releasing them, it just looks like he's hiding something, and it's no secret to anybody that, as Brian says, there's no reason not to release them. And if he does release them, what it's going to show is that before he decided he wanted to be president, he wanted to, maneuver his taxes and take advantage of every potential loophole imaginable. And one doesn't jive
And
with the
there's
other.
some of them that
No, I
play
think it
terrific
jives
on
with it.
TV.
Don't you
They-
think that tax
just one
avoidance
second.
is a red-blooded
They-
American thing?
Well, except there's one thing. I don't know how well to the red meat, somebody
don't
in
waive
Rust
my
Belt
Fifth Amendment
America.
privilege with that.
It's going to look when he brings, and I'm not making this up, he gets 4 or 5 sheep to be in his golf property so he can call it agricultural land. Okay?
I've seen reports that then he gets tax benefits
and there's
for
so
them.
many of these examples where he's looking out for the guy who lost
Yeah,
his.
that's the
wait,
dissonance.
he's looking
Yeah,
out for
yeah,
the guy who's
yeah.
on the assembly line and everything else. Yet he's got tax havens in the
That's the
Bahamas or
dissonance.
Bermuda.
We
or
got to be
wherever
upset
else.
with Congress for that, because Congress passed these horrible laws that allow you to do that.
But
And that's
don't you
just-
think,
that's
what's his
pandering,
biggest fear?
and that's
Down
to a
to-
lobby.
do you think his
I
biggest
don't-
fear,
I don't
Brian,
think-
is we find out he's worth a fraction of what he says he's
an
worth?
issue.
It's
Or
both.
do you
He's
think that we
worth a
catch him
fraction.
here that he's involved in some of these shenanigans that look awful?
It's both. He's worth a fraction. I'm speculating he's worth a fraction of what he says he's worth, and also that he's paying very little tax, because he's in this tax nirvana where he's an active real estate investor, I bet, meaning he spends a fair amount of his time doing that, which means he gets losses from his real estate. Even though the real estate goes up in value, Congress allows him to take deductions for losses.
But-
then he takes those losses and he offsets them against other income from his licensing his name.
But your
So
real
he's in a
estate-
perfect situation.
The real estate can go up in value. It doesn't mean that the business that's located on that real estate's profitable either. So those are two separate things.
Those are two
But
separate
in
things.
the end, I think the debate will come down to is if we ever find out or even approach what is reality, will the American people think that a guy, even if he's a charlatan and a fraud, that claims he's worth $10 billion, is paying less in taxes, than the secretary?
And he could be. It could be Warren Buffett's secretary, where his secretary had a higher rate than Warren Buffett.
And that's a rate. It could be actual taxes. with Trump.
Bruce Springsteen, working class hero, fake goat farm in New Jersey. So the dissonance, if Bruce can pull it off, I think Trump can
God
pull off
bless you,
being
Mark.
rich
God bless you. You
and
got me
being
to
a
a goat
proletariat.
farm with a
Bruce is the
boss.
boss.
I'm
All right.
investing in tax
Yeah.
golf courses.
Coming up next, is Gretchen Carlson trying to Cosby Roger Ailes? She's now doing press in her sexual harassment case against the top guy at Fox News. And here comes the drip, drip, drip of other alleged victims. We'll analyze both her PR moves and Fox's defense straight ahead.